How are you? Did you get some sleep this weekend? I was thinking about Chinook salmon this week. Because I had read that they swim like 1,000 to 2,000 miles to lay their eggs. I think they go back to where they were actually hatched. Isn't that the deal? Yeah. And it turns out that all 2,000 of those miles are upstream. Can you imagine? That feels like a lot. Grateful that it's not like that for us as human beings. Although somewhere around here, you and I know what it's like to swim upstream, don't we? Every once in a while, we find ourselves waking up in the morning and planning ahead to swim upstream. We expect that whatever's on our schedule for the day is going to be hard, that somebody's going to get in our way, and we have to plan ahead of time to put our dukes up, or we laid awake for a few hours the previous night trying to figure out whether we will be able to pull this off, whether there will be enough, whether I will have enough strength. That's going upstream. Can you relate to that? Yeah. And then we help others go upstream with us because we tell them our stories, talk about it over and over again about what we're struggling with, so now they're exhausted too. And then they have their story, so now they're helping you, yeah. You hear it. Yeah. And today, what I wanted us to think about was that there's an easier way than swimming upstream, and that way is love. Let's go back to our forest of dreams here for a minute over there on the wall. Many of you helped us create these beautiful trees that represent what matters to us. And every single tree has a trunk, and every trunk has a divine idea on it. And you're gonna see throughout the day here several of those trees that have love on the trunk. So, that's the perfect grounding for creating what it is that you want in your life, to ground yourself first in love. Is it dark up here? I feel like I'm in a little bit of darkness, so I don't know if there's something you can do with this. Oh, there's no lights on over here. I don't know if they broke. But here I am, in case I'm over here in the middle. Yeah. So if we leave love to its own devices, keep in mind it is the very nature of the universe. The air we breathe, everything that we touch in this physical universe is something that is born out of the essence of God, and God is the essence of love. All one and the same thing. So that's really important that we know that from the beginning. And then trust that love it's a little bit more than when we feel warm-hearted for somebody in our family. Love is so much grander than that. It's really huge, and it's really varied in the way that it expresses itself. In our class this past week, we were talking about love, and we were looking at the words from Charles Fillmore, who, our co-founder of Unity, I think has one of the most insightful definitions. So I threw a few phrases up here on the screen for you to look at, because in his mind, thinking of love, ta-da, just lights you up. Ta-da! Thinking of love produces a positive love current. So there we are, a stream that's supposed to carry us towards our good. So we don't have to swim upstream. We can go with the flow when we are loving. And he calls it a power that joins everything in harmony. So when you're in the middle of chaos, love is that energy that will help restore things back to order. He says that it sees only good. So imagine love as a consciousness, a point of view that you can adopt to choose to see good, and that is what causes good to show up in the relationship or in the situation. That's pretty powerful. And love is known as the power that brings your own to you. So what really belongs to you, what you're attracting, what is for your highest good, what is on your path, love will bring directly to you without effort. It also helps to adjust all misunderstandings. I'm hoping you've noticed that at least once in your life, and breaks up thoughts of opposing thoughts of hate. It is the greatest worker for our happiness. I want you to start thinking of love as a partner, a conscious spiritual partner that goes with you everywhere and is waiting for you to put it to work. Now, Sue Sicking puts it this way. She's another Unity writer. Love is the power that can banish hospitals, old age, loneliness, unhappiness, and want. Is that not powerful? Too bad you didn't come to the class, because you would have heard how that happens. But ask me later, I'll tell you. All right. And also that the power of love heals the human body. We've talked about how that works, sets us free from bondage. But first, and this is true, and everything she and Charles said is, love must be set free to work through us. Oh. Okay. Good to know. So you're in charge. You decide whether that staff member is going to work with you or not, because it won't overtake and force anything. Either you get out of its way, which means you are now in alignment with love, or you purposely call it in and invite it in some certain expression. But while salmon are designed to go upstream, you as a human being, even though it's, we can say that we run into difficulties throughout this experience, you're still meant to go with the flow, to go easily along your way. So it's counterintuitive to the ego, because the ego was born and taught to strive and struggle and effort to get where we're wanting to go. It doesn't make sense to the ego to just let go and see what happens. But this is when we come back to remembering God is our good. It is the very essence of every good thing you could possibly want in your life, and it's always flowing. That stream of good flows through me. That song that we sang this morning, it's always flowing with what we need if we open up our hearts to access the good and ground ourselves in love, because love is the most direct route to flowing with the stream. So there's probably a part of you right now in the ego that's saying, it's not that easy. Not in every situation. Love is not that easy. But it will harmonize. It will cause things to come together. And when you are in the energy of love, it will actually open your mind to the divine mind, so that the solutions you're looking for will come more easily. It will open your heart to compassion when you're struggling with people. It will bring health to the body. It will create prosperity in your life. Love. Actually, Catherine Ponder says it. She says there's nothing weak about love. Love can win more battles than fists or weapons. Surprise. So I, have had opportunities in my life to prove that. And one of the ones that I remember was when I was in the business world, and this was a company that was kind of a combination of staffing and payroll services and technology. And there were several managers working together. I was one of them. And there came a time when we started to expand and needed to open a second office, and the managers were kind of spreading out. And I realized that in this change, there's going to be some important steps that the staff needed to take to make sure that our services continued on with our clients and nobody was left high and dry. So I created this very detailed, imagine that, me, creating a very detailed plan of what had to be done to make this happen, and I sent it off to the other office, and I can only say that they must have ignored it or didn't read it, and we ended up with a mess. And so I'm sending an email back to the other manager over there that I'd always thought of her as like my soul sister, and I was just kind of reaching out tongue-in-cheek and saying, I talk, and nobody listens. Okay, so she got that email, and uh-oh is right. Uh-oh is right, because then I got an email back, and it said 2 words, back off. But it was spelled B-A-A-A-A-C-C-C-C-K-K-K-K-K-K space O-O-O-O-O-F-F-F-F-F-F-F exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation. back off. Yeah. And I was shocked, and I felt like somebody punched me in the gut. And then I got mad. I thought, what in the world? Why was she responding this way? I did not intend to hurt anybody's feelings here. And as a matter of fact, I forwarded it to my boss, and I said, look at this. This is back in the day when I was like, smack her around a little, will ya? And he was saying, you know what, she's under a lot of pressure. Let's just cut her some slack. And so it was just about the time I was coming into Unity, and I was learning how to use love. And I thought, okay, let me see what I can do here. I spent a couple days just sitting with this, pausing, seeing how I wanted to move forward. And what I wanted to do was let love do the work. And so I decided to call it in as a third employee, an invisible employee, to get involved in what happened next. And I called her or sent her an email and said, can we please meet about this? And she said yes. And my goal was that when we met, that we'd resolve the issue and that we'd be able to respect each other and continue on with an effective working relationship. And so when I sat down with her, I said, I am so sorry. I mean, I was just kind of speaking tongue-in-cheek here and trying to talk to my girlfriend, and you know how it is to be in management, and sometimes things don't go well. And I told her, I think one of the things I learned here today was that be careful when you use email, because people can't hear your tone of voice. They don't see your face. And ultimately, I was trying to get across that I saw her as my friend and somebody I was commiserating with, and I'm so sorry if this hurt your feelings. And she sat there quietly for a minute, and then she said, I'm sorry too. And she began to tell me about how it felt like the world was coming down on her shoulders, and that she was struggling with difficulties that nobody else was having to deal with. And because we had both agreed within ourselves to be a compassionate presence in this conversation, love was able to do the work. It was able to get in there and soothe feelings and open hearts and point the way towards the next step so that we could continue working together in a healthy way. Now, I could have gotten that email and got furious and never talked to her and held a grudge for the rest of the time that I worked there and showed her a cold shoulder for as long as I worked there, which would have basically been me creating an upstream battle for the time that I was going to be an employee there. And again, it's not hurting her, it's hurting me. At some point, you have to ask yourself, do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? Do I want to be right or do I want to be kind? And also, when you think you're right, are you? Who knows what I said years ago on that email, but it's very possible that I contributed more than I needed to create this in the first place. And Catherine Ponder's book, The Prospering Power of Love, is a great resource for looking at this in a variety of ways. But one of the things she said was, it's been estimated that only 15% of a person's financial success is due to his technical ability, while 85% is due to his ability to get along with people. Personnel managers agree that more than 2/3 of the people who lose their jobs do so not because of incompetence, but because they cannot get along with others. Approximately 10% are discharged because of inadequate preparation for the skills needed, whereas the other 90% are fired because of personality problems. So, you're kind of quiet. Probably wondering what you've been sending out. But my point here today is that in all of our interactions, whether it's the office, whether it's family in the house or extended family, it's driving down the road, it's standing in line at the grocery store, love is your greatest worker to solve whatever problem is going on. And I really want us to understand love more deeply today. So I was reminded of when I was in seminary, we were studying various religions, world religions, one of which was the Tao. Anybody heard of the Tao? Yeah, it's spelled T-A-O. And the Tao, when I looked at it, I realized that sounds like love. So I'm going to share with you a description of the Tao and see if you can't just keep interchanging it with love and help you understand more about what love is. This is from Houston Smith up on the screen. The Tao is the way of ultimate reality. Didn't I just say that about love? Immanent and transcendent. That's within and without. If God is within and without, so is love. The rhythm and power in all nature, basically spirit. It cannot be exhausted, for the more it is drawn upon, the more it flows. Doesn't that sound like love? The object is to align one's daily life to the Tao. Didn't I just say we have to align with love? To ride its boundless tide and delight in its flow. There's that flow again. The life is graceful, for it lives by a vitality that has no need of abruptness, much less violence. The life of the Tao is a life lived above excess and tension. So is love. It's not idle. It exhibits rather an effectiveness in which no motion is wasted on bickering or outward show. Okay, now here's another description. Taoists view water as a perfect demonstration of the Tao. It supports objects and carries them effortlessly on its tide. Did we not just talk about going with this flow? Poor swimmers flail against it, while good swimmers float motionlessly, knowing that it will support them if they don't fight it. It subdues what is hard and brittle, carving canyons from granite. The person who embodies the Tao works without working, acts without strain, persuades without argument, and gets results without coercing. Can you feel, whether it's the way, which the Tao stands for, or it's the power of love, or it's the presence of God, it's all the same thing. Yes? Yes. And it gives you a little bit more clue as to what love is all about. And I think when we listen to Jesus' words, he said, "Come to me, all you that are weary and carrying heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Again, think of the yoke as that power of love. It was the way that Jesus lived because he knew that love was what did the work. He knew that love was the primary power of our universe. And as the Tao, it works. It works without struggle. How many times have you been upset about something and someone was able to stand in front of you with a loving heart that soothed your soul? Yes? Do you know what that feels like? Yeah. So it's an opportunity for us to bring it in as an employee, a worker, as an energy that dissolves that which is in our way, bring in love as an insight that shows us a way that is more compassionate and filled with divine ideas. It pretty much fills the bill for whatever it is that we need. And for me, it was something that I drew on when I was stressed out at work, and this was a different job. I was working in a radio station, and I was fairly new there, and it was a big station, and millions of dollars flowed through, and I was kind of in control of how that money was scheduled, so to speak. Won't go into detail. But I was new enough that I was really not happy when I got a call to jury duty. Because I thought, oh my God, I'm just starting my job and I'm having to walk away for jury duty. And so I immediately went into stress, and I realized I wasn't going to be able to get out of it because I'd just gotten out of it not that long ago. It was weird. I kept getting called there. But in California, you go in for jury duty for one day, and if they don't call your name to serve, then you're done with your jury duty. So when I got up that morning, I just started affirming, I am not going to have to serve on jury duty today. Nobody wants me on the jury duty today. I am going to be set free at the end of this day and not have to be on any more jury duty. I was affirming my truth. It was a little bit forceful, and I will tell you later how that's really not the way affirmations work. So I finished my affirmations, and then I started swimming upstream and started wondering, what if I do get called and there's nobody in the office that can cover for me and do my work, and that means we're going to lose money and our clients won't be happy and the whole radio station is going to fall apart and blah, blah, blah. Yeah? So my heart beat a little bit harder, and so I just started to reaffirm my affirmations even louder. I am not going to have to serve on jury duty. Nobody wants me on a jury duty today. And then I went into the courthouse. And when I come in the door, it's 20-foot ceilings, kind of like this, and up here along the walls were these 6-foot canvases that children had painted of their view of superheroes. And they were only like 5 years old, up to about 11 years old, so I was just, wow, distracted. So I started walking around, waiting for things to get going, and just looking at them and reading the little descriptions, and I just started to notice that my heart started to soften. And I just started to feel appreciation for these kids who showed such wonderful imagination. And then, because my heart was softer, I was able to hear the question, why are you trying to control this day? Why are you trying to make this outcome any way at all? And I thought, you know what? If my path is to show up on jury duty today and for the next week and the next month, I'm just going to surrender this to love and trust that love is going to work out the details. And it's going to find a replacement for me at work, and everything's going to go fine. And then I realized I had been praying just the night before for opportunities to serve. And here I was trying to get out of it. Okay, so now I'm relaxing, I'm letting love lead, I've made that decision, I'm becoming more conscious, and we get called into the selection room, and they start calling one person at a time up to the microphone, and they start asking them the same 15 questions. Everybody answers them all. And as I'm listening, I'm starting to feel a connection with them. You know, I can relate to their lives, I can understand their miseries and why they're struggling, and I think they're all there trying to get out of jury duty. But basically, they're telling their stories, and because my heart was open, I was feeling a connection with them. And I realized, because I'd stopped swimming upstream, I was going to be able to be fully present for them. And one at a time, I was fully present and listening and feeling our hearts join together. And the next thing I wanted to do was send them love, and send them love, and send them love. And before I knew it, 8 hours had passed, and they never called my name. And all I was thinking about was how much I love these people. So as you can see, the struggle went away when I stopped struggling, when I chose to implement that employee of love, to organize this, to help me see more clearly, to calm my thoughts and my feelings. And as Emmett Fox would say here on the screen, there's no difficulty that enough love will not conquer. I want you to know about that in your heart and recognize what's available to us. And that's why when you came in today, we asked you to fill out one of these forms. So you want to get that out right now, because what we're going to do is take this into meditation. Might be a little bit longer meditation, where I will ask you the first question, and hopefully you've written down your answer, but if you don't have one of these, then just come up with the answer in your mind, in your heart. What's the answer? And then I will speak an affirmation to whatever that issue is, and I want you to just sit with that truth of love and let it apply to whatever the relationship is or the situation is. Does that make sense? Okay. So get comfy. The questions will also be up here on the screen along with the affirmation. So let's take a breath. And you truly can probably do this with your eyes closed, but whatever feels good. Just become present. Feel your chair. Feel your feet on the floor. Take another breath, big breath. Hold it for a couple seconds. Let it out nice and long. And think of a person you don't like or you don't get along with. You don't have to think about a lot of detail, just come up with someone in your mind. Doesn't even have to be someone that you know personally, someone you know about. See their face in front of you. Breathe. Divine love harmonizes this relationship. I allow divine love to harmonize this relationship. I feel love in my heart, harmonizing this relationship. Just allow yourself to feel that for a few seconds. And next, I'd like you to think of a challenging personal situation that you're facing. Think of a challenging personal situation that you're facing. Take a breath. Divine love is doing its perfect work here and now. Divine love is doing its perfect work here and now. Love is working on this without struggle. Just allow yourself to feel that kind of result, where the power and the thoughts of love are causing this to work for good. Here and now. And now think of someone you care about who's going through a challenge. You may know what the specifics are, doesn't matter. Just identify the person. See if you can feel what they're feeling in their heart. And now take a deep breath as if you're breathing together. Divine love adjusts this issue for good. I allow divine love to adjust this issue for good. I know divine love is able to adjust this issue for good. And next, think of a challenge that a large group of humans are facing. Might be an organization, it might be a government, it might be a country, it might be a race, it might be a religion. Think of a challenge that a large group of humans are facing. And take a breath. Divine love heals and prospers this situation. I allow divine love to heal and prosper this situation. I know divine love has the power to heal and prosper this situation. And finally, think of something new you'd like to see created to benefit you and or others. Something new you'd like to see created to benefit you and or others. And take a breath. Divine love foresees everything and richly provides every good thing for this situation. I allow divine love to foresee everything and richly provide every good thing for this situation. I am so grateful that divine love foresees everything and richly provides every good thing for this situation. Breathe in, allowing a feeling of gratitude. Breathe in, feeling grateful that love is working for your good. Breathe in with relief that love is handling the details of life. And allow this commitment from your heart. I choose love first. I choose love first. Knowing that I am one with love, the truth is, all things are working together for my good. So it is, and now I let it be. Amen.